Dungeons & Dragons has been skyrocketing in popularity over the past few years, except for before they took a massive faceplant with the whole, OGL thing. But more and more people are clamoring to tables, trying to find groups to play with, whether that's D&D 5e, Pathfinder, Lancer, Call of Cthulhu, Mork Borg, Alien RPG.
No, don't touch it! Don't touch it!
Whatever, the whole hobby as a whole is rising. Pretty cool. Yeah. So the question that we will be postulating today is, what is the best way to play? Is it at a table, high-fiving your mates with every critical success that you make? Or is it online through Discord and a BTT like Roll20 or Foundry? Or maybe it might be the new D&D. So let's look at online play first. So this would be through a BTT like Foundry, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds. There's a bunch of them out there. And then using like a streaming service communicator, there's Star Trek, like Discord or Skype, I personally use Discord. Most of the people I know use Discord, but there's other ways to do it. So these let you use a digital environment to simulate D&D. And for the most part, it does a pretty good job, I think. You can simulate tactical combat or build your world with maps and character portraits and art and just share that with everybody in a digital space, which is cool. The price of this, of course, can be from a whopping to, hundreds of dollars, depending on how fancy you want to get, really. For example, when we first started our group back up years ago, we decided to use Discord to play online, and this is before we even understood what a VTT was and what it could do. So we just used a basic Discord and Theater of the Mind. It's a good way to go.
All the things in the room.
In-person D&D. Here's the thing about in-person D&D. You can literally do everything you do in online digital D&D or ttrpg play at a table the exact same way. All your digital assets and things you can use with a monitor, a TV, projector, whatever. Or if you're one of those people that's got gobs of money, you can make a digital gaming table that has a TV that's set in and you just pop. It's cool. But I think the real big difference, of course, is you get quality time with the bros or gals, there's that. Real high fives are much crisper and nicer in real life than they are digitally. I mean, it's cool. You can, send up a little emoticon, I guess, but it's cheap. I don't know. It doesn't feel as good. Well, yeah. Snack culture. Everybody has their own favorite snacks and is bringing them or not bringing them and eating all yours. Everything's nicer with a meal, right? Even if your meal is Doritos. I've come to realize in recent years when it comes to D&D and immersing yourself, players, all that stuff in the world is the idea of handouts and real world handouts where you actually hand it to them and they get to feel it in their hand. It's just more tactile, more grounding. It's real. You can do the same thing in a digital environment with a digital handout that, you can pop up on your screen and see it, and it's cool. But when you hold it in your hand, it's just a whole other level of immersion. And then, of course, there are many other things you can do in real life. For example, we had an in-person session for one of our Curse of Strahd games We've been playing on VTT for the most part, just because it's more convenient for us. But when we came for this in-person session, it was so cool when we walked up the stairs and got to see the whole table laid out. And there was this super cool fog effect rolling off the table. It was just really cool. And you can do probably something similar with a VTT with like a rolling fog effect or something like that. But in real life, it's just like, oh man, that's really cool. It's fog and I can touch it and see it, and it's 3D real life. I don't know. It's just hard to explain, but it just was way cooler to see it in real life. I'm not saying you have to use fog machines IRL, but you can, and it's super cool. And anything like that is just going to inspire more. Honestly, when it comes to it, I personally think that in-person play is always going to be better. You get time with the bros, everything just feels more impactful. And I don't know, it's just more fun. It's quality time spent with your friends, if that means anything. But really the best one is the one that actually lets you play. So for me and my group, a lot of times that includes a lot of BTT sessions, because that lets us play at least once a week, which is a lot better than none a week, I would say. And then when we get together and we play in person. We have to schedule this out way in advance, like a lot of people always complain about. It's like the D&D horror story thing, trying to plan a D&D session at, once a month or something like that. It's horrible trying to get everyone's schedules online, especially when you live farther than an hour away from some of these folks. But using a VTT can allow you to play more frequently, which means you get to have more fun with your friends. But what about the third option you mentioned? This third option that I've been alluding to is the VTT from Wizards of the Coast. And I really am separating it as its own thing, because it's a VTT, or it's being billed as a VTT, but I almost look at it's almost like a video game. Everything's highly modeled, and it has this like tactile feedback system that's very video gamey, almost like what are those games? Like Age of Empires and things like that, but on a smaller scale. Now, when it comes to this, I personally like video games. I play video games. I think a lot of people that play RPGs play video games. It's not unheard of. But I'm not actually super enthralled with the idea of this video game feeling to D&D. Video games are cool, but what about your imagination? And I think that's one of the things that kind of makes D&D fun, is it feels those imaginative juices. Sorry, can't talk. There's something about using your own mind and frame of thought to construct these vignettes that occur in a session of D&D or whatever RPG. And when you have a video game, it sort of takes away all of that creativity. It's doing the work for you. And again, video games are cool, but D&D is kind of its own thing. And making it a video game, I think, makes it a little less special in that regard. Or at least it makes it different. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a bad thing, and maybe there's ways to tweak and customize the experience to make it more, palatable to kind of how I prefer to play my TTRPGs. But I just don't see it really hitting things the way I would really prefer them. But then again, choices are not a bad thing, and some people will probably just prefer this method anyways. I'm actually kind of scared because it seems like some of my own players kind of like the idea of this too, which will probably be a conversation we'll have to have in the future about what we play and how we play it. But, you know, that's for future Yug to figure out. So anyways, what are your thoughts? How do you play D&D or your given RPG? Do you use a VTT? Or do you just always wait for an in-person play? Or do you do kind of like me where you do a hybrid of VTT play and online play? How many groups do you play with? That kind of thing. Tell me about it. Love to hear your responses. Love talking to the guys and gals in the comments. Which, by the way, thank you so much for watching my videos. I've been making these terrible videos online, and apparently a few people watched a couple of the videos I have made, and they had a spike, and there was a lot of people watch it, and it was kind of freaking me out a little bit. But hey, that's cool. So if you like my content, I guess you can do the things, you know, things. I'm not gonna say it. You know what they are. I'll be making more crappy videos like this where I postulate things about D&D and other RPGs for fun. Yeah, but either way, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye now.